WSTKS-FM Worldwide. Digital collaborative learning for the 21st century. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Week 8 of the Collaborative Café, a podcast to help students navigate IAH 209 Film Noir. I'm Professor Schwartz, and we're about at the halfway point of the course with fall break coming up fast. With that in mind, let's take a pause today and have a midterm Q&A session in which I respond to a few common questions that students here at Michigan State University have asked in recent years. So order a mug of your favorite hot beverage or something to nibble on and relax for a few minutes as I provide answers to those queries. Ready? Here's question number 1. Hey, Professor Schwartz, have you always been a professor? No, not always. In my early 20s, I worked in a large supermarket doing the rock and roll thing on the side in a few incarnations of the same band with a couple of brothers on drums and vocals, respectively. I was on bass, sang, and we played a lot of radio-friendly music, mostly the hard rock and pop metal of the day. It was the 1980s after all. I finally got with the program, though, and returned to school in August of 1992, a few months before I turned 26. It's never too late, right? Here's another question that students often ask. Hey, Professor Schwartz, do you have a favorite sport? Well, actually, I have a few athletic activities that I enjoy when the weather cooperates. Most of all, I love cross-country skiing, an activity that I learned years ago while living in Norway. To me, there's nothing quite like striding and gliding quietly through the woods on a cold, snowy afternoon, jogging up a long hill, or flying down the other side. My wife's son and I have a few different ski areas that we visit each winter in the northern part of the Mitten and the UP when we can, but there are a few small areas around East Lansing too, although nothing quite like up north. We also enjoy kayaking and cycling during warmer weather. And my wife and I walk year-round. A third common question that students have asked now and then is this one. Hey, Professor Schwartz, what would you do if you weren't a professor? Well, this is another good one. I absolutely love what I do here at Michigan State, so the simple answer is that there is nothing else I would rather do than work with college students to help them cultivate various next-generation skills, like critical thinking, creative problem solving, and digital literacy as they explore course content, share, and co-create new knowledge. There is also my ongoing research into teaching and learning practices, occasional conferences to attend, articles to write, and now and then interesting committees to serve on. A life of the mind is highly rewarding, and I consider myself extremely lucky to do what I do. Here's a fourth question that I often get. Hey, Professor Schwartz, how come you're always so dressed up? Do you own a pair of sweatpants? Well, dressing up makes me feel good and ready for whatever the day might drop in my lap. In more detail, I enjoy wearing a suit and necktie with leather dress shoes or combining a sports jacket and pair of odd pants with just the right shirt. Weird, right? And here are a couple of related not-so-secret secrets. One, I actually enjoy wearing neckties. Strange in the world of 2024, I know. And 2, I enjoy caring for my dress shoes and shining them with the same horsehair brush that once belonged to my grandfather. And yes, I do own a pair of sweatpants, which are cozy to wear around the house on cold evenings during the winter. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're taking a break from the usual procedure since we are at roughly the halfway point of the course with a Q&A session in which I respond to a few common student queries. Here's another. It begins, "Hey, Professor Schwartz, are you from Michigan?" Well, in fact, I'm originally from Pennsylvania and grew up in the countryside outside of Philadelphia. But I've lived in the upper Midwest for the last 30 years thanks to college, graduate school, marriage, and work. Almost half my life, actually. Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois, and most recently Michigan, which I absolutely love for its landscape, lakes, and winter weather. My extended family has roots in North Carolina, and a couple of generations back, some of the family even came from England to Calumet in the Upper Peninsula, where one of my great-great-grandfathers sold large equipment to the various copper mining companies in operation at that time. And the final question for today is one a student asked with a wink and a smile a couple of years ago. Here it is. "Hey, Professor Schwartz, do you have any superpowers?" No, I don't. I can't fly like Superman or swing from webs like Spider-Man, but I'm pretty good at learning languages. I speak and read Norwegian with abilities in Swedish, Danish, Old Norse, German, and a tiny bit of Dutch, and I've also studied Spanish and French in the past. Italian would be fun to learn too, with possibly Mandarin Chinese or maybe Hindi, time and opportunity permitting. At one time, I did Norwegian to English and English to Norwegian translation work, including, believe it or not, including a manual for the installation, care, and use of incinerator garbage disposals. WSTKS-FM Worldwide. Digital collaborative learning for the 21st century. If you find this podcast helpful, be sure to hit like, share, and subscribe. Before we wrap up today's midterm Q&A, a few reminders before everyone checks out for fall break. First, it might be a good idea for your learning team to revisit and possibly revise your core team values and weekly expectations based on your work together so far. 2, plan ahead now with your team for the latter half of the semester. Consult the syllabus and semester at a glance schedule for help with that. After fall break, we have a lot on our collective plate, including the remainder of your independent reflections, collaborative projects 2 and 3, plus the independent course capstone project in December. Forethought, careful planning, organization, and time management will help you meet and accomplish those goals. And with that, we come to the end of today's program. Enable and empower yourselves by joining me again in the Collaborative Café for additional tips, tricks, and advice based on my almost 30 years of collaboration with thousands of undergraduates at 3 Big Ten universities, 2 liberal arts schools, and 2 community colleges across the upper Midwest of the United States. Thank you for joining me today. I'll see you in class, online, or during Zoom office hours if you drop by with a question. In the meantime, have a healthy, safe, and productive week, and I'll see you after fall break. With special regards, from Onyx, the cat what am. So long, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now. You've just heard a podcast from WSTKS-FM Worldwide. Digital collaborative learning for the 21st century.